better lie.
Very true.
David looks the same.
There's no year or anything. You see David and then
You think that
age?
No.
No, it's as if he's not in his early 20s or something.
I think that's a compliment.
Oh no, that's
Yes,
I'll take it as
the
a
fact.
compliment.
That's the fact. But you know you're gonna.
It's a compliment.
But sometimes, you know, when you're looking like a boy all the time,
The things that you've seen,
they run things over you.
would have been an old man by now.
It's grace.
Yes. In fact, if you have to go through David's record in journalism, through all the newspapers you've worked with, and what you're doing currently. Now you're doing the New Republic.
Yes, the New Republic and the WhatsApp News.
And the WhatsApp News, yes. So if you've ever read the New Republic and the WhatsApp News, David TAMAKLOE is the one behind it. He's been in the business for quite. I don't want to say so long, so you look ancient.
He's free press too.
He's been in the service.
Yes.
Yeah, the service of Madagascar. Do you still have free press?
Free press. I think it's gone down a little.
Yeah, they haven't
Some
published
time
in
now,
a
I
while.
haven't seen a copy.
They haven't published in a while. Yes.
But that's where I cut my teeth.
You start from the Free Press. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Your boss started from the Chronicle.
Yes.
They went to set up, and then you joined him there. Well, nice to see you this morning.
It's been a long
Good to see you,
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yes. How is the New Republic doing?
Quite well. I mean, you know, it was the Republic newspaper earlier.
Yes.
And I think sometime through 2018, we decided to do something new.
Okay.
We studied the media landscape and saw that people weren't buying newspaper that much.
Okay.
And there was so much to put out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have to do the work, then we need to devise a new way to make sure that we do not spend too much on the news. And interestingly, that's how we got to the WhatsApp news.
Okay.
And it caught up very well because we were putting the right news out there. So a lot of people like the WhatsApp news. So we did it as a virtual newspaper. So what it means that we cut out printing costs and all that, and so it worked quite well.
That's my technology meeting, journalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
But along the line, why we had to bring back the New Republic, I mean, close to the election, was because we realized that by some design, the traditional media, I mean, radio, TV, were not reviewing the WhatsApp news. I mean, some tell you the language is strong in WhatsApp news, but it was just an excuse not to review it. So we thought that, I mean, we put a newspaper on the stand as every other newspaper and see what excuse there would be. And so, I mean, it's still not selling that much. People are not buying newspapers these days. So even when we print the newspaper, a lot of people will be asking for, soft copies online, the digital edition. So we still have had to create a website. So we are on the website with the New Republic now, and the website actually is doing well. I mean, if you count the number of people reading from there, it's still a lot. So the newspaper itself was just to, deny the the radio and TV people the excuses they were giving us.
Deal with the excuse. Yes. Yeah, I see. I've been reading your stories, and but even the WhatsApp news never ended your troubles because of your style of journalism. Every time there's one person who has a big issue, they don't survive against you when it comes to the proof, but at least they give you some trouble.
Well, I mean, the trouble, if you live in a country where nobody wants to do the work well, if you do it well, you get trouble because people have become accustomed to not doing it well. And so when you do it well, particularly under the government we are about to leave, you would agree with me that there's been so much suppression of voices, and that if you are doing investigative journalism, if you are, telling this as it is, you definitely have problem with them. And I recall in 2020, when I was arrested here and taken to,
Western
I think it was Ashanti region.
Yeah, Shanti rather.
It was, I mean, the story they were referencing was not really what.
It wasn't the reason.
It was not the reason they in fact, a day before I had that call from the nationals and the police who claimed they were bringing me a letter to come and see their the commander. We had done a story on Esla Osu,
Okay.
who was using a private jet to campaign around the northern region. And that private jet was owned by Philip Olai, the guy who owns Ascent Digital.
Okay.
And he was running the Kelny DVG as well.
Okay.
And there were corruption issues around it.
So that was the era of the rural telephony thing.
Yes, I mean it was not the mobile telephony thing. Kelny DVG was already having problem, and there were some corruption issues around it.
Okay.
The same guy had provided his aircraft, not only provided aircraft, but he was actually campaigning with ESLA in the northern region.
Okay.
So we put a story out one afternoon, and they issued a statement to deny that there was any flight at all. Then we put the details of the flight, including the passengers on the flight.
The manifest.
The manifest, yeah.
Okay.
And that was what got them mad. So I recall when they were taking me to Dubiase that night, I skillfully engaged the CID officer and the police guys. And he confessed to me that the instruction for me to be arrested came from the Flagstaff House.
Oh.
And so in the conversation, I mean, I pretended I wasn't having a conversation about it, but somehow, it came out, and obviously it was linked to Esla Owusu's the story we published the previous day.
But the same Ascent is involved in the rural telephony thing, is that not?
Yes, I mean, that's a whole scandal on its own. You don't want to talk about it. It's a whole scandal on its own. They siphon a whole lot of money from the state in that rural telephony thing. And if you are listening to, you're talking on phone today and your phone is glitching and all that, that's they couldn't erect the mast that should, solve the problem.
I think most of them are not even, as we speak,
are not
functioning.
Powered. Some are not functioning. Yeah. Some they've not even erected them. They just put it on record that they have.
So people were paid for no work done.
Serious money that will blow your mind. But that's another story.
No,
coming back to aid, I mean, you get problem if you are taking a government, any government at all. If you are taking them on and they are not doing the right thing, they want to cover themselves. And so if you are exposing them, they would come after you. If even the establishment itself doesn't come after you, their airlines will come after you. But in this case, there was a top itself who were. But I mean, and that would. It wasn't me alone. You've seen Bongo Ideas, the blogger who was arrested. It started from modern Ghana.
Yes. The guys of modern Ghana.
Ajafo and co, who were,
I think their laptops are still there.
Yes, who were bundled up from their office, covered with polythene bags, and taken to national security access. Just last week, we did a report of a secret cell that is being operated by the National Signal Bureau.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that is where they do most of the roguish, human rights abuses.
Okay. Headed by
Dubois and his Ben Ansar, Henry, and some two others. So this cell is somewhere around Osu, next to the office that the president used to campaign in 2020. next to Peace Council. That's where the cell is. And
Cell?
most of cell,
As in a place where you are held.
secret
People
dungeon.
tortured, held there
So
without legal.
and they have
legal
arrested
counsel.
people, kept them there for 7 months without trial. They've arrested people, kept them there for 1 month without trial. Most of these kidnapping, and when they arrest them, their families don't know where they are, and they've been keeping them in there. If you read the act that set up the Signal Bureau, there is nothing like arrest in the act. Their work is to just, I can read it to you. Their work is basically just to handle the cyber end of intelligence. So, for instance, the court has given order that your phone be examined. Okay. They have the expertise to do that. They don't have the mandate to arrest.
Pick up people, arrest them, hold them for many, except months.
Yes, and some of them have even resulted in lawsuits. People have sued them and the state for abusing their human rights. And Dubois has virtually used that place as his personal, asset, and run the place like a rogue department. Corruption, as we speak now, they have bought a machine that is shredding documents in that office. Shredding documents, including the ones they take from other places, other ministries, and take it to that office and shred it.
So
there are issues about contracts, serious issues of contracts, what's the name? Inflations, contracts that they awarded to companies, to Signal Bureau, and money is being paid into their private accounts. Just last week, Edubuahin closed one of his company. In Laboni. And that company, and I don't know what is going through their mind, that if they close a company, the scandals won't be traced.
The evidence thereof.
I was just going to get you the...
Let me send it to you.
The act.
Yeah, the act and act, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What's you're trying to get that? Albert, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm good, yes, sir.
Yes. And I'm doing well. And one of the things that have come up recently has been the matter of, the Parliament was supposed to do one simple thing.
Yeah.
Pass a bill, they will allow government to spend in advance of appropriation.
Yes.
Because, of course, the budget will not be ready until maybe after 3 months.
Yeah.
It seems that failed. And I'm sure you are monitoring that space.
Did it fail, or there was a deliberate reason, or I think...
No, at the end of it, that move failed, but it was foiled.
Yes.
It was actually foiled by those who are in power currently.
Yes.
Yeah. What would that mean, actually?
No, for me, they are rather shooting themselves in the foot.
Those in power?
Yes.
Like the Fejomakins led?
Yes. You know why? Because the Constitution is clear at 180.
Okay.
It's very clear.
Okay.
You can't withdraw or take any money from the consolidated fund and spend without parliamentary approval.
Okay.
And the approval should go in the form of a budget, a warrant by the president for approval of the same.
Okay.
Now, for every appropriation act or the bill that we pass or the budget, we call it the appropriation bill, but everybody knows it as a budget. When you pass it, it covers a specific time period, January 1st to 31st December.
Okay.
So legally, that's what the law or parliament allows you to spend.
Okay.
Now, if you have to spend any PESWA beyond or any CD beyond what Parliament approved in the Appropriation Act, you then have to go back to Parliament to do that. Now, if you will still be in power between January 1st or after 31st December.
Yeah.
So you still be in power between January 1st and midnight of January 6th.
Okay.
Assuming that you spent all the monies that have been approved by Parliament before 31st December, which money do you expect as a government to spend or use to run the government between January 1st and 6th?
So,
And if a PESWA, and some of us will be monitoring closely, and we will scrutinize the accounts. If a PESWA is withdrawn from the consolidated fund between January 1st or 1 a.m. of let's say after 12 a.m. of January 1st to January 6th, midnight of January 6th, when there is still no approval by Parliament, the one who authorized that withdrawal will go to jail. Because you flouted the Constitution Act 180, you flouted the PMFA Section 23, Sub-Regulation 22, which makes it clear that you can't do that. So if they think that they are trying to cripple the incoming government, then I don't know what logic they are using. Now, I should believe that by now, by virtue of what is happening, the new government is putting up the appropriation, the expenditure in advance of appropriation, such that by January 7 or the day of January 7, if you like, we can put on hold the actual ceremonial inauguration and pass that bill.
Before anything is done.
You have the numbers to do it.
Yeah.
It's
Even
by
if they stage a
majority
walkout, you have majority.
You have it's just by a majority of all members of Parliament.
Yeah.
So once we now have our 276. So once you have 138.
Now they say you talk too much when you are telling them the secret too. So don't make sure you don't say things that you.
No, but we need them to know the some of, excuse my language, the foolishness that they are engaging in, thinking that they are doing someone. They are not. If they like, they should spend some PESWA or they should withdraw some money from the consolidated fund between January 1 and January 6, or before the time that they will now bring a warrant to Parliament for that, expenditure in advance of appropriation, and then let's see what happens.
You're saying that one, they perhaps.
But you need money to run the government between January 1 and then 6. By the time
haven't they stolen enough to use?
It's well and good. Spend on behalf of the state.
Yeah, so it's well and
that's
good.
Where the problem
then it's good that at least they are bringing some of the stolen monies to spend.
Then they should use their own money.
Yeah, so then they can use their own money.
No, but
not the money from the consolidated fund.
But you're saying that whatever happens, they will feel the pinch from January 1
to January 6.
January 6.
That's if
and they have to organize the inauguration.
Yes.
They have to organize the swearing in.
Yes.
All that has to be expenditure from the state.
Yes. And so far, the only expenditure that has been approved is that of the judiciary, isn't it? That was sent to Parliament and it was approved. So that is different.
So if they tell you they couldn't get money to organize the inauguration, what would you say?
Oh, no, but it doesn't prevent His Excellency GM from going to Parliament for him to be sworn in. Does it?
It's interesting. I mean, I have never seen imagine that will come to this stage.
To this point. I mean, how can you be so much a sore
loser?
That
democracy has
when we talk about a sore loser, this is a classic example of it. It never happened. Rollins that people even said he was a dictator, what's not. Did you see this happening in January 2000 or December 2000, after December 7, 2000?
Because it was taken for granted that this is something that shouldn't actually be a controversial matter. And it shouldn't generate the kind.
At all. It doesn't even, this issue doesn't generate any controversy. Because reasonably, the new government needs time to prepare this. Because you have to even know the true nature of the accounts of the country. What is in there for you to, budget to spend within that period. and then now have the time to now assess where revenues will be coming in, and then you draw your budget for the entire fiscal year.
Yeah.
So it's never even generated any controversy for it to happen this way.
You see, in case you haven't heard, even the handing over note from the presidency is now being drawn. It's now being written.
The handing over note.
The handing over note
from the presidency.
Yes, because in spite of the transitional act provision that requires that you prepare these 3 months to the election, it's now being done.
Really?
It's not being done. And the funny story I heard is the person who actually knows all the things that went on at the presidency is incapacitated and cannot put it together.
Okay.
So
as for this
yes,
one, it's public knowledge.
it's a public knowledge.
so we are likely to be told that the person is incapacitated and so they couldn't get everything.
But so is that not the very reason why you don't do things of the nature that they did for one person to control or
Everything.
to use so much power?
Yeah.
And
Because you have a
control
chief of staff
so
sitting
much.
there.
Yes.
You have
Why should
many other people
the secretary be the only one that has knowledge of everything?
The figure, even the vice president said he was just a mate. So you can imagine.
I mean, that's
you see, when you behave like this, how do you expect Ghanaians tomorrow to now want to give you power for you to come and perpetrate the same thing, and then when you are booted out, then this sour loser behavior? I mean, how does this even happen? And then,
but that's
that you think you are spiting, you are cutting your nose to spite your face, or how is it put?
There was a musician who sang that. Said they know what Danny Sana used to buy and super. So they are not ready. They were not prepared for this.
Yeah, it's like a thief in the night coming in the night.
Exactly.
No
so
information.
they never believed that they would ever get out of. But how do you even govern people, take power from people, and you think that you own it absolutely?
And
it's quite basic that power, absolute power, resides with the people. It doesn't matter how you think that you've arrogated yourself so much power when the people give you the mandate. And what baffles me is that history is abound with so much, lessons, so many lessons. You've seen dictators rise and fall. You've seen democratic dictators rise and fall. So what gave them that?
Very perverse ones.
Yes. So what made them think that Ghanaians are so, I don't know, is it docile? And Kwame Nkrumah said it. They should have listened to the words of Kwame Nkrumah. Look, Ghanaians are like, we the cool people. When we are angry, that's when we start laughing. Me, when I'm angry, I'll start laughing. And when it explodes, you can't contain it. So they should even be thankful that the explosion happened democratically. Other than that, and look at what they are, to the extent that expenditure in advance of appropriation, that hasn't been an issue since the inception of the Fourth Republic. All of a sudden, it's an issue. That, I mean, how many pages or how much, document or accounts that you have to prepare to...
And Albert, that's why I wanted to hear David's opinion on this. The polls.
Yes.
Told you many things. That you were leaving power. There was no way you were going to win these elections. Everybody that be some credible polls, especially for the ones you did to satisfy yourself. The other polls will tell you. You sample opinion tells you that you were leaving office. What was the psyche of the what was the issue? Is it a psyche or what was it?
No, it
that
was
made
a plan.
them feel?
It was a plan.
I think it's intoxication of power, because I know within their circles, they were very much aware that the people are not going to give them mandate.
Okay.
If you follow what went on during the election, the day of the election, the days before and the main day of the election, how ballot papers, printed ballot papers, were stuck at places ready to be conveyed to, the collation centers, police stations. You will know that they knew all along that they were not taking mandate from the people. And I have always maintained that the MPP had never won an election. I have covered at least 7 elections in this country. I don't think MPP has won an election. Of course, 2000 election, people were obviously tired of the Rawlings regime. But even that, I can't give you, I've not done a scientific research to prove it, but I've experienced a lot. I've heard a lot. I've been with people who were very much involved, in these elections, and I know how much rigging goes on. And that's why they have been confident. They have been confident. They have done it in 2004. They've done it. They tried it in 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020. So they were so confident. I have listened to some top national security, couples talk about how they are going to forcefully declare seats for themselves on the day of the election by 7 p.m. of 7th December. They were talking about declaring about 147, 150 seats for themselves. And then they'll pour soldiers in. They said that without any reference to the mandate of the people. And so with this, I followed all the polls that National Security did. From the February one, which was a baseline poll, midline poll, the what's the name? Final pool. There's a name for it. And then post final pool. They did it 4 times. Usually it's 3 times they do this. Okay. But they were doing it concurrently to make sure that it gives them a positive result. Unfortunately, you see, in life, whatever you do follows you. It's nature. You can't eat your cake and have it. All the things they were doing against Ghanaians, when they were changing the laws, when it suits them and all that. All of those things came to play in this election. So they came, they tried to push their people into the very, very national security, which is supposed to be independent and give them an independent assessment of things. They change people there and put inexperienced people there. They want to hear what they want to hear. They want the people to tell them what they want to hear. So they put their people there. When they started the first pool and they brought the result, they said no. So anybody who was part of that research, they took them out.
Really? The first national security pool?
When they started the pool in February.
Because
anybody who brought negative
sentiment.
Prediction
the result
the people are not happy.
They
are NDC. So they checked them out. They took them out to the outskirts.
They call it secondment.
And brought the people who would tell them what they want to hear in. So when the guys realized that, look, we want to maintain our job, they started telling them what they wanted to hear.
But even that,
and what was that?
Even that didn't show.
So they come, they say, oh, the result is like this, but we can do it this way.
So that
if we do ABC, it will change.
Okay.
So they were on it. So the final pool, on one occasion, I think the midline pool, when they did the midline pool, no, it wasn't that. Even their own internal pool, where to pick a running mate, something funny happened. They had done a pool where among who they would be best for the running mate
position. Okay.
Then the pool got Kenneth Japan as the most favored among them.
Okay.
Then they went back and said, no, Kenneth Japan. At that time, they had jettisoned him because of some of the things he had said during the primaries against Bawumia. So they now went back and narrowed the pool to Ashanti region.
Okay.
Took Kenneth Japan out. Even though part of him comes from Ashanti region, they took him out and put some other 5 people there and conducted the pool because somebody was paying for it and they had their eyes set on someone. Then the pool came up, they found a way around it and narrowed it on Napo as the favorable candidate.
No, they were choosing their nemesis.
So they got him and he became the biggest problem they had.
Yeah,
Napo, Bawumia himself is a problem on his own. Then they went and added Napo, a bigger problem. So you realize that everything, they are just listening to themselves. What they wanted to hear, that's what they were following. So, yes, how many times hasn't, what's the name? Musa Dankwa's Global Info Analytics predicted 56 plus.
Yeah.
They have done it. The European,
the IEU,
the IEU report,
economic intelligence.
it was the same.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so if you are,
Even Fitch solution.
if you respect the mandate of the people, and you know that you could not have come to power but for what the power the people gave you, you would listen.
Okay.
And look at it. All this money, all these promises they made, they came, they failed to deliver, and they were still telling themselves that they have done. They know on book that, look, when we say Pualugu factory, we were going to do it. We didn't do it. We paid 11 million. The vice president, who became the flag bearer, told everybody that they had done Pualugu. When they know that there was no Pualugu
not even a hole was dug there. At least for
so
cathedral, we
they were
could see a
just
hole.
deceiving
But
themselves.
Pualugu, there's nothing there.
They went and pulled down a Labadi, a La Polyclinic, and told the people, oh, we've constructed it at some point in time. If you go there now, the hospital, the structures are there, the walls are there. That is not even halfway through completion. And whilst they were doing that, they were doling $25 million to the president's daughter. They were doling $25 million to the president's in-law.
Marine Drive projects and co.
The same guy was at Marine Drive. He is on Bank of Ghana board.
Do you know a lot of the Marine Drive? I think 2018 or 2019 thereabout. They were actually paying upfront when no contract. When no project was even started.
Marine Drive is another crime there. This guy, the president's in-law, sits on Bank of Ghana board, and you went and procured land, the Marine Drive land, in the name of Bank of Ghana. And that's what they said they were going to use for the Bank of Ghana, what's the name? The structure, the headquarters.
Yes.
They paid money, almost about $10 million.
Okay.
To Ghana Tourism Authority.
Yeah.
Where that money went, we'll tell later. So then the headquarters found its way to another
location
which they bought from a private person. You see, so they were doing all this.
No, before people would think that
the foot soldiers were down there. They come and tell them, "Oh, we are the best government Ghana has ever seen." And the foot soldiers, they go and throw some coins on them, and they keep supporting them. So when they refused to go to the polls, it was because
a lot of them themselves even said that their own people were telling them, unless before they even go out there and vote, unless they give them money.
Something.
You see, and then they come to tell us that there are 2 million MPP people who didn't vote, and that's why they lost.
Well, refusing to go and vote is another form of voting.
But who says there are MPP people who refuse to go and vote?
No, Senator,
The NPP people voted,
let's make something
and they
very
voted
clear.
against them.
Let's make something
Those
very
they think
clear.
were blind, color blind, and that they are going to be forever NPP no matter what they do. They went and voted against them. So there is no 2 million people sitting anywhere. Look, if we do forensic audit of that, the electoral register,
To be done.
you will see that there are no 2 million people sitting somewhere who are MPP people who said, oh,
But
they are not going to
how
vote.
do you even determine that they're MPP people?
I see.
But like the Adam Smith figures they've been giving us, they've told us again to believe it.
Albert.
But yes, I just want to make something clear to our listeners and our viewers that when we are talking about the Marine Drive and the Tourism Authority issue, these are issues. It's not like we are speculating or hearsay thing.
Yeah.
These are issues that are duly captured even by the Auditor General himself
Okay.
in one of their reports. Probably I'll send it to you later so that you can read it out to the listeners. The Auditor General captures some of these things. Like, for the first time in the history of Ghana, usually contractors will go and mobilize, do a project, even finish it, and then be chasing government for the money. But monies were paid ahead of time. That most of these projects that were supposed to be done as part of the Marine Drive and coastal whatever, didn't even take place. They didn't even start. There was no mobilization, but the monies were paid to them.
And do you even know that the development of the Marine Drive land, the developer was to take land as a compensation for developing the land?
Land was supposed to be the
The
development.
entire Marine Drive
Project.
area was an undeveloped.
Okay. Before you continue, in case you do not, you are wondering what this Marine Drive thing about. You see, if you drive along the high street of Accra, all the way headed to a station, you see these places that have been enclosed. Like I said, there's some development project that's going to happen. You see all these designs, beautiful designs.
Artwork.
Yes, all of that on
billboard.
Yes, that is the Marine Drive project. That's what they are talking about.
So people, so if you are in that area, just know that people were paid monies for things to be done there, which they never did.
It never happened.
Yes.
Most of it never
And
happened.
the Auditor General captured it copiously in some of their reports.
Every money that they came to find
Yes.
for Marine Drive,
Yeah.
the minister, you know, what's the name? Katrina Apeku.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing. I mean,
And that was even the time that the president's daughter, one of her daughters, were sitting on the tourism board, isn't it?
yes, and was a creative arts.
Yes. Charlie? So now
You see,
it looks like we are digressing, but
Well,
I mean,
no.
you see,
But these are all conversations
yes.
that need to be had.
So,
that we need to have going
flowing
forward.
from what David was saying, you could clearly see that the intention wasn't to actually win the election and win it clearly or cleanly or fairly. So today, if you ask the MPP, in most of the constituencies and in most of their police stations, if you ask them to bring the original copy of their pension, they will never get it for you.
In fact, they will usually tell you that they don't have it. Let's rely on what the EC has.
So the question is, and they claim they have scanned copies. Senna, before you scan something
You're supposed to.
into a soft copy, shouldn't you do that from an original hard copy? So where are the hard copies? So they only fabricated their own figures onto copies of pink sheets and then transpose serial numbers. Some they couldn't even do it well onto those scanned copies to make it look like it was the original thing. And that is one of the things that happened in Okaikwe Central. The 31 police stations that keeps coming up had, and I don't know how that happened, that in all the probabilities of this world, that it was only Ghana that 31 polling station officers, EC officers, who have the same handwriting.
Yes.
Say that 31 polling precincts has the same handwriting, words, figures, and everything. And when the EC official, the regional EC director, and the returning officers saw the thing, they said, "Oh no, I mean, how can they?"
It's not possible.
Reasonably and with all conscience accept that. The reason, the declaration was done with 110 polling stations instead of the 141 polling stations. But Jim Mensah says, no, I must at all costs declare it for the MPP. So they now go and then bring another person.
Okay.
We wasn't the returning officer for Okaigwe Central. To now, because the original officer says, or returning officer says, I'm not going to be part of this legality. So Jim Mensah has to come and then bring another person to come and then now say that the 31 fabricated print sheets, that even the regional director, EC director, said this is a criminal act. Now, Jim Mensah allowed that 31 dubious fabricated print sheets to be added to the results of Okaigwe Central.
No, but let me ask, why is it that these same polling stations we are talking about, that they have not been able to collate, how come we are not hearing the presidential results from
those areas?
Yes.
That you expect
so that should be increasing either President Mohammed's votes or appreciating that of Bawumia.
Whichever way it is. We should
so why are we not hearing those ones? Or they have been declared? Or
at what point were they declared that we didn't hear it?
No, I think after that, and that's the interesting
No, but
part.
Jim Mensah said it during the declaration, the first declaration,
that those
were pending.
Yeah.
So where are they?
Where are the results from those areas?
Yes, for the presidential. Let's even put the parliamentaries aside. So where are the results for the presidentials?
But if there are no disputes over the results of the presidential, of course, it'll be forwarded to the EC, will be part of the results that are gazetted.
Yeah.
So where are they?
I'm sure the EC
so when you are announcing these other ones, because
shouldn't you
want to
announce
do
it?
recollation, you would announce it at the
because it's supposed to be announced to the public, and the copies of those collated results or declaration sheets pasted at the collation center.
It seems she's not interested in those ones. She wants the parliamentary sheets.
And where are those declaration sheets that we are not seeing it at the moment?
So you're saying that the declaration should involve the presidential election results
as well?
But is that not the position of the law, Senna? Is that not what the law says? Or did the law say that only parliamentary results should be declared at the collation center or at the constituency level?
Maybe the it is finished was meant for the presidential one.
Probably. So I see. So you don't, and the same thing happened again in Tema Central, for instance. The electoral officers claim that the two disputed pinches that she made reference to. Now, this is what happened. Because the figures were fabricated and dubious. And when the guy was queried, his claim was that, because at the close of polls, something that you declared, so what did you declare at the police station? That, and after everything, I got tired, so I had to go to the house, and then after arresting...
Is that what the law says?
I then now fill in the pink sheets. That's why you are seeing that there is no signature of anybody on it. And that's why the results are different from what the NDC, the copies the NDC had.
Okay.
Or has.
But the failed declaration form, the duplicate is what you give to the parties, right?
Yes.
So how do you fill it after giving a duplicate to the party?
Yes.
So how do the parties get a duplicate?
And then, no, even before you even get there, before you even announce the result at the polling
they have to
station
endorse
level,
it.
You have to, first of all, you have to fill in.
Yeah, fill
before
it in.
read
you are reading from it.
From the sheet, is that not it?
So what did you read from?
So what did you read at the polling stations? You see the craziness, the absurdity that is going on. with Jim Mensah. And somebody will sit somewhere, or the MPP people will sit somewhere, and clearly you could see that even the MPs being declared, they are not happy. Can't you see their demeanor?
I mean,
knowing that this is just a 1 day or 7 day wonder.
No,
which wouldn't stand the test.
One of the interesting ones I was surprised at is Dome Kwabenya. Because
Yes.
Dome Kwabenya, initially the guy was fighting, then the guy came to concede.
Yes.
So which means
And
that
then he's
the
fight.
results.
Yes, and then
Now,
his only problem again was that he wasn't there when the declaration was made, and then he didn't sign. Then all of a sudden we were being told that he was going to be collated
story has
again.
changed.
yes.
And it's great that the EC of the returning officer says, no, I'm not going to be part of this illegality. If again you want to do that, then look for your henchmen to come and do it for you.
David,
I think one of
The same thing happened with the Blekuma North as well. Again, and that's why the guy clearly asked, if you are claiming that I or we, the EC, gave you those copies that you scan onto it, where is the source document, the original copies that you scan onto it? Bring it. And what did the MPP guy said? Didn't he shut up? Knowing very well that when I can bet my last
and there was
pesewa-
same thing in Tema Central as well.
Yes, the same thing in Tema Central. And look at the Tema Central, not Tema Central, the Tema Metro guy. Clearly, you could see this is a party fanatic, because no reasonable public worker will even be behaving that way. That the courts gave an order that go and recollect. Go and recollect. Then you will say that, no, I'm just going to add something, and then nobody can do anything. I mean, how?
Well, just a minute. This one is a comment. Before I forget, this one says, happy birthday to one of my big brothers, Alistair Jimate of Blue Skies Company. May God expand your frontier and territory and top it up with divine protection. So happy birthday to Alistair Jimate of Blue Skies Company. That's coming from Papa Reese. David, okay, one of the things my attention, I had the recollation is another matter. But the thing that attracted my attention the most was the security movements. In fact, the deployments were massive. What do you think they were trying to achieve with that?
You see, like I told you, the whole scheme to get Bawumia elected was done at the national security level.
Okay.
They were hoping to use gadgets to intercept calls, gadgets to jam calls, interfere with signals. You recall that there was an arrest sometime around 5, 6 thereabout, around the Aflau area. If you follow the gadgets which were taken from there, we did a forensic analysis of the gadget, and they were meant to intercept and to jam calls. To jam internet transition. And so what happened was, the gentleman they caught that day had moved around some of the constituencies already, and perhaps installed devices that would, help the whatever they intended to do. So when they were caught in Mamaga Jifago Mashi's constituency, that they took the devices from them and kept them with the police. So it means that whole operation in that enclave had gone bad. Then across the country, the military they were using, the police they were using, it was the only day that they realized that they were not with them.
Okay.
Because they were not taking instructions.
The military and police officers they were using.
They were not taking instructions. And you realize that by noon, pictures of the key operatives, Kobne Dubois, Asumeni, the National Security Coordinator, Benansa and Co., they had moved from Accra because the operation zone is Kumasi. They had moved from Accra and were going to follow the issues in Kumasi to track people's call, follow the the people who they believe were aiding the NDC to police the ballots, they had stuck ballot papers, temperature ballot papers in places. You recall Yamin, the national organizer of NDC, went to a private residence where they located huge volumes of temperature ballot papers. So all those places, there were people who were informing, there were informants who were giving out information on these locations. And so they were going there to track who is giving the information and where Yamin and Co's movement was.
And how they were getting.
Unfortunately for them, by the time they landed on the tarmac, they moved from here, landed on the tarmac, we had pictures of them. And they rather were being monitored. Everywhere they went was being monitored. And I know
the hunter
that by 1 o'clock, they were incapacitated.
And they were confused.
And they didn't know where. In fact, they now have to be running for their own lives because the vehicles they were using were being tracked. They got back to Accra on Sunday. Even after the election, in the evenings, they were still trying to do what they could. But by Sunday,
the thing is that
10 a.m., they realized there was nothing
to resist all those.
Yes, there was nothing else they could do.
Okay.
So it was, a machinery that they set up, headed by the national security. McMenu was hiding at his place, also regulating it. There was Anoche somewhere playing number 5. You had was in Atubra also watching from a place.
And the number 2.
Number 2. And then Benansa and his boys were also doing their own thing. But you see, it took the will of the people.
The courage.
The
power.
To ensure that the right thing was done.
Yeah. I mean, see.
Let him. I'll come to you.
And so because for 8 years, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led government has suppressed everyone. They govern this country as if there is no tomorrow. And so the results should only tell politicians that you can't take the people for granted. The intelligence were gathered from the people. The intelligence that stopped all this nonsense were gathered from the people. The vigilance, you saw in one of the videos where in Ubwasi, the gentleman faced military people, two, and overpowered them. So politicians should learn this once and for all, that you can't take the people for granted because you have political power. And when you start stealing the money, instead of using it to work, you have just started taking your votes out from the ballot box.
Well, let me let Albert. You wanted to make a conclusion.
Yes,
I have to take my last break.
Yeah, and I wanted to add that, see, most of those ballot papers that you see flying around, and yes, some were the originals, but most of them, for instance, if you take Judge's constituency, that's one of the Iowa constituencies. You remember people has to chase people who came with pickup with some foreign ballot papers. And so most of those things that were destroyed were actually, those fake ballot papers that they were going to use to exchange the mandate of the people.
Okay.
But yet again, instead of Jim Mensah being a neutral arbiter and going to the details for everybody to know which ones are the real ones and which ones are the fake ones that were going to be used, she, bundle everything together just to paint something black.
I have to take a break, Albert. I'll be right back for us to conclude. This is still the Gold Morning Conversation. We are live on Radio Gold 90.5, of course, live on Sekpele 104.3 in Likpe, Todume.